This is a conversation we're going to have that's very dear to my heart. And so I appreciate and welcome everyone in order to really understand the power of mentors, coaches, sponsors, and advocates. But before we get into all of that, be sure that you do have a pen and paper, pen and journal, pen in your phone, because we are going to, you're going to want to take notes because we're going to walk through all the differences between all of those roles. We're going to describe, the purpose and the value and the benefit of those roles. We're going to describe how you should be leveraging them, whether in your career or if you own a business, and also in life. And at the same time, then we're going to discuss kind of what's in it for you, but what's in it for them. We'll take you through steps as to how do you get started, and then I'll give you actually 3 steps to do initially, just to kind of get your feet wet and all that kind of good stuff. So you're definitely going to want to grab a pen and paper, and you're going to want to take notes. At the same time, I really will be watching the comment section for any of your questions along the way, any of your comments. You can say hello, but I definitely want to be sure that we get all of your questions addressed. And any comments or any, situations that you might be dealing with. I also will open it up at the end of Q&A unless I spot your questions as we go. While at the same time, if you do have more of a question that you need coaching on, maybe, it's a situation you're dealing with, it's a challenge, it's an opportunity. Maybe you are seeking a coach, a mentor, a sponsor, an advocate, and you're wanting to get more information in regards to just how to go about doing that. We are going to obviously cover it, but if there's a particular situation you're dealing with, I certainly want to provide you that guidance, those tips right now. Okay. And then at the end, I'll also share an opportunity for you to even schedule some complimentary time with me to get some coaching on whatever it is you want to talk about, because what I'm all about is serving you, is providing you the hand that you need to guide you, to provide you direction, provide you accountability, provide you strategies, provide you tips and advice, sometimes tough love. So I want to give you always that opportunity to ensure that you're getting the support and the help that you need. So I'll share that information at the end. But today we are going to deep dive into just the power of mentors, coaches, sponsors, and advocates. And there are differences between each of them. And there are different expectations that you should have in regards to, what and whom you're pursuing. And at the same time, like I said, we'll make sure that you know how to go about even doing that. So let me just share you my own experience and why this is so dear to my heart, as I mentioned earlier. I can look back throughout my lifetime and I can identify my very first mentor. It was my first grade teacher, Sister Claire, and she took me under her wing. So there's kind of a indication of what a mentor might be for you. Is she took me under her wing to kind of navigate, the playground and navigate, who I was. For those of you who know me, I'm one of 12 children, and by the time I got to Sister Claire, she had probably met and engaged and taught 7 of my brothers and sisters. So I came along and I was kind of known as the postman's daughter, the milkman's daughter, you name it, other than my parents, because I just looked different, I acted different, and all those kind of things than all my brothers and sisters, of which I have 11. And so she kind of recognized that I was a pretty rambunctious, precocious kid, and I was trying to carve a niche for myself. And so she just kind of, just like I said, took me under her wing and loved on me and just made sure I understood, just where I fit in the world. And it has been an indelible imprint of who I am, and what impact she's had for me ever since, first or second grade. And so I had the pleasure, just a short sidetrack, I did have the pleasure of running into her again in high school, which was absolutely unbelievable, but that's for another time. But then I can kind of go through, even middle school, and then in high school, Mr. Maggiano, who was my science teacher, social science teacher, and he too kind of looked at me and kind of brought me under his wing, but more from, he definitely kind of saw a leadership role that I wanted to play in life and even in high school. And so he kind of took me under his wing and really, guided me along the way. And then there was Diana in my 20s who coached me on what it was that I really needed to do and understand in order to grow as a leader. In that case, it was in retail. And then there was Nikki, and then Daryl. I mean, for, I don't know, 50 some odd years, I've always sought out or I've had interested parties come to me for mentoring, coaching, sponsoring, or advocacy. And so I just have seen and felt and experienced the impact that any one or all of them can do at different periods of your life and your career or your business. Or, at the same time, if you have a few of them going at the same time, they can really have some major, major impact on what it is that you're doing, what it is you're trying to do, and what your goals and aspirations are. And so I know for each one of them, but my last significant individual was Joan. She was my coach for 9 years up until recently. And it was one of those things that kind of naturally turned from her being a trainer on some business things that I was working on to her then becoming my coach. And again, 9 years, right? And we're going to talk about that. There's some people that come into one of these roles for a short period of time, and then there's some that stick around, and then there's some that you might have for a lifetime. I mean, my father, my entire life, was a great mentor for me. So, until his passing. So, these things aren't necessarily prescribed in a certain form. They really ebb and flow and are very fluid. And it just depends on what it is you're looking for, what it is that you need, and who it is that you kind of connect with. All right. So don't, and if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I do need somebody, I'm not even sure, I'm very confused. We're going to hopefully clear all of that up today. And then if not, I am always here, and you always have an opportunity to reach out to me. Okay. So I'd love to know, have any of you had a coach, mentor, an advocate, or a sponsor? Who out there is familiar with them? But at the same time, let's be real here. Let's be honest here. There is a lot of confusion around these different roles. At the same time, I work with a tremendous number of both business owners and corporate professionals who really never even considered it. They never even considered a mentor or a coach or a sponsor or an advocate, especially the sponsor and advocate. Now, there are companies, small and large, that have mentorship programs. They even have coaching or leadership programs. And sponsorships and advocacy is not often talked about as much as mentorship programs or even leadership coaching programs. So it's good for you to have this information, so then you can proactively go and do what you need to in order to seek out what is right for you at this period of time, as well as looking forward. Because that's what this is about too. This is about you understanding where you are now, but it's really about where do you want to go, and therefore what type of individuals do I do I want and need in my life? Now, reminder, for those of you, especially if you're first time viewing this and or viewing any of our programs here in the Shift to Riches community, we had a whole conversation around career mapping and business mapping, and it was really centered around creating your circle of influence. And we did touch on coaches and mentors and sponsors and advocacy for both the business owner and the career professional. However, at the same time, you certainly want to go back to that, but this is going to specifically talk about these 4 different roles and the steps that you could be taking and the importance of it for you to be taking in your own business or for your career. All right. But do take a look. Actually, what you need to do is send me a note, either comment below. You can say, yes, I want career mapping, business mapping. You can DM me, or you can even email me directly, BernadetteBose@ballofireinc.com, and tell me that you're interested in having that video. All right. Because it's no longer posted up on our Shift to Riches community. It was part of our Goals to Riches Challenge a few weeks ago. And all that content comes down after that program is over. It's a very short period of time. You got to get it when it's there. But if you're interested in seeing that, then just comment below, shoot me a DM, or email me. All right. So if you are joining for the first time, maybe you're even meeting me for the first time, let me tell you a little bit about who I am. I am a performance and success coach. That's what I consider myself. And I really focus on 2 core things. One is goal achievement. It's just a passion of mine, is to get every one of you to have your goals, to have your action plan, so you can go out and be very clear, focused, and energized around pursuing what it is you want to achieve in life and getting you there. All right. So that's one area that I focus on. I also focus on really helping you shift to a mindset, a powerful, bold, empowering mindset that helps you to overcome any challenges or obstacles or struggles that you have. So then you can leverage that set of goals, that action plan that you have, and pursue it with confidence, pursue it with determination, pursue it with just pure certainty that you've got what you need in order to work through anything. Okay. But I serve pretty much those individuals, both entrepreneurial and corporate, that are passionate, they're purposeful, they're productive, but they might be struggling to create what it is that they want in life. I call it create your riches, create, all those aspirations and those dreams that you have. Whether, again, it's in your career, it's in your business, or it's in your life. And I leverage my 25 years corporate executive experience with a lot of consulting in there, as well as my entrepreneurial savviness that I've had for the last 12 years. So between those 2 experiences, I bring just tips and tools and resources and that support and that accountability, that sounding board, those strategies, that leadership that you even are seeking. And I bring it all to you in various forms and in various means of coaching, consulting, and training. And I've been, like I said, I've been on my own since 2008. And I've worked with hundreds of business owners and corporate high potentials all the way up to C-level executives. And really my goal is to see them just grow and transform and become the individuals that they want to become. And it's all inspiring, and it absolutely wakes me up every morning and just gets me excited for the day and for whom it is that I might be working with that day or have the opportunity to reach out to potentially work with, and to also provide you this type of education, this type of masterminding even, and this type of coaching all wrapped up in one. All right. So again, leave me your comments, leave me your questions, leave me your ideas, your thoughts, whatever the case might be, and let me serve you and give you what it is that you need to create the riches in life that you deserve. All right. So this is, I mentioned, this is our inaugural Ignite Thursday training session. So we're going to be doing this, providing you these forums every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, right here in our Shift to Riches community, our private group on Facebook. They won't be put anywhere else. Invite your friends, invite your colleagues, invite your bosses, your teams, and ask them to join in on the Shift to Riches community. They also would get, on a daily basis, they would get daily tips, daily conversations, daily inspiration and motivation. Obviously, these training programs, we have a number of launches that we do. We are here to provide you whatever it's going to take to get you successful in life. Okay, so again, if you want more information, or you want that, you want the career mapping and business mapping video, or you want to reach out with anything in particular for me, you can always DM me. You can comment below, you can DM me, and you can email me at BernadetteBose@ballofireinc.com. If you should have a suggestion as to what topic we should be covering, do the same. All right. But let's get into this. So I would love to know if you ever have had a mentor, a coach, a sponsor, or an advocate. And again, if you have not, it's perfectly fine. I would also love to know if you understand what those roles are and the difference and the importance of them. Again, it doesn't matter if you don't. That's why we're here. Okay. So let me just outline for you and ask you a few questions to get you thinking about the real value of any one of these four roles on your life. Okay. So would you like to have a trusted and more experienced person in your circle, in your immediate circle especially, that can give you ideas, give you strategies, discuss challenges and ideas with? Would you like that? Would you benefit from that? Would you benefit from someone who is able to advance your business or your career? Maybe because of the influence that they have, or the network that they have, or the businesses that they've grown, and or their careers that they've built. What would it mean to you if you had someone who could provide you that type of expertise, but at the same time, that type of relationship where they would go out and really kind of beat the pavement in order to champion you and your growth and your aspirations that you have? What would you do if you had an expert who could give you specific things, specific skills, knowledge, education, lessons learned, best practices from the industry that you're in, or the industry that maybe you're aspiring to go to? What would that mean to you, having someone like that you can reach out to and guide you? You could be looking at wanting a new role, wanting to find a new job. What would it mean to have someone that can navigate that for you? Especially if you're moving from one industry to another, one company to another, one role or function to another. How valuable would it be to you if you could go and pick someone's brain and they can actually kind of roadmap a plan for you as far as what steps do you need to take in order to successfully and productively and effectively get yourself from point A to point Z? A mentor, a coach, a sponsor, and an advocate fills those roles beautifully. Now, what if you're a high potential VP or a high potential VP and you're looking to get into the C-suite and you need kind of to be at the table, as they say? You need to be in the circle. You need to be part of the club. in order to get the attention, get the visibility, get the exposure, get the support, in order for someone to be really pushing you along and bringing you up with them. What would that mean? What would that mean to you? Now, what are the benefits of all that? I mean, I kind of gave them to you. At the same time, consider them for yourself. What if you could raise your visibility, raise your brand power? Now, a lot of people, and this is actually a topic that all of you have asked for, so we'll cover this on a future one. But so a lot of business professionals have kind of said, okay, what does it mean for me to have a brand, personal brand or a business brand when I work for another company and it's their brand? And I'm like, no. You have your personal brand. You have a perception. You have a personality. You have other people's ideas of who you are. And you may like them or not. So you need to be able to influence and control the narrative on your own brand. So what if having one of these 4 roles by your side, you can, empower that, you can build that, you can strengthen that, you can even define that through other people's insights and other people's observations and perceptions of you. So, of course, huge benefit of any of these is opening new doors and opening new opportunities. Mentors do that, coaches do that, but more so sponsors and advocates certainly do that. So that's a huge benefit. And of course, it's the growth and the polish, as they might say, especially in the corporate world, a little bit more polish to your style. It might be your leadership style, your communication style, your, delegation style, whatever the case might be. What if the benefit is huge if you had somebody looking out for you to kind of say, that's not working for you, or that is working for you, and keep it up, that type of thing. So there's tremendous amount of value and benefits to anyone to have one or more of these roles in your network. One of these roles playing in favor of you. Okay. So let's lay them out, shall we? Now, get a pen and paper because you're going to want to make notes. And you might even, as you're making notes, you might even want to if you have someone in mind as I'm describing each of these roles, you might want to scribble them out. You might want to just make note of who might come up, as we're walking through each of these. Make a note of it because that will start one of your first 3 next steps that I'm going to give you. Okay. Now, and keep in mind, you don't need to understand this all at once. You don't need to all of a sudden be clear on who and who's out there that could serve in any of these roles. You don't need to know real and feel really comfortable with any of it from a brief conversation about it. You just simply need to reach out to someone like myself and let me kind of guide you as well. Okay, so get a paper and pen and get ready to start taking notes. All right, let me just make sure. Okay, all right, so mentors. Now think about it. Again, who's played as a mentor in your life? My sister Claire, right? Mr. Maggiano. They brought certain skills, certain knowledge, certain expertise to me that I was looking for. So you may have a skill or a knowledge gap that you're saying, okay, wait, in order to get to the next level or in order to grow my business, I don't have these skills. And I'm not in a position right now to hire it because I need to understand it and know it and so forth and so on before I do. And or if you're a career professional, I can't, I feel I can't ask for that promotion until I, not 100%. We don't go for perfection here in the Shift to Riches world. We go for imperfect perfection. But you should have a good understanding that if you're going for a new opportunity, a new career advancement, that what is it? What are those skills, knowledge, experience, expertise that you need in order to assimilate and onboard into that role as quickly as possible? So there could be a gap in your knowledge, in your skill, in your expertise, and therefore you want to seek out someone who has it. So mentors have a certain skill or knowledge or information and experience that you're seeking and that you're looking to kind of ensure that you have for yourself, and they serve that purpose. You go to them and say, I am looking for you to mentor me in how to be aware of my brand, how to build my brand, how to live my brand. And you recognize someone in your, it could be in your network, it could be in your social circle, it could be on your team, it could be one of the leadership members, and you say they really kind of are known, and you never thought of it as a brand before, but they're known for something, and that something is something that you're aspiring for or toward, and therefore that person might be a perfect mentor for you. There could be a specific technical or tactical skill that you're needing to learn. Public speaking is one for both business owners and career professionals who they want to be mentored around, when I'm in a meeting and I have to present in front of I get this a lot from my clients, and I have to present to the board. I wish I had someone in that room that could provide me feedback, that could purposely be there to provide me feedback. And then a business owner, could need the same thing when it comes to when they go and make presentations to potential clients and or actual clients, and yet they don't feel really secure in themselves as a public speaker, or even a speaker, that's not necessarily public, but is up in front of a room. And they want some advice and some guidance in regards to that. So you might say, oh, well, wait a minute. Sandy has great public speaking or platform speaking skills. I want to go and kind of engage her in mentoring me within my business or within my career. And they're known as an expert. They may not consider themselves an expert. Like you could go to Sandy and say, oh my gosh, you have such great platform speaking skills. I would really love some advice and some expertise. I've heard many proposed mentors go, really? Yeah, you think? You think I could teach that? You think I could, coach that? And, yeah, you could. You could. So don't be surprised if you were to approach someone, and we'll talk about this later, but if you approach someone and they, kind of are a little bit surprised in regards to your perception of them as an expert in a particular, skill set or piece of knowledge or an area that you need some growth in. Now, mentors are often looked at as kind of short term, kind of time bound, because you want to learn something, you go seek out a mentor. Once you learn it, you're done. And I wouldn't be able to argue that with anybody. Yet at the same time, mentors can be around for a really, really long time. Now, most likely, if they started as a mentor and they're around for a really long time, most likely they've moved into more of a coaching role. And then even they could move on to an advocate or a sponsor. But most of the time, because of the fact that mentoring is around a certain skill set, it's very purposeful. And once you have that knowledge and that experience, you're kind of done with that. But yet at the same time, you want more of what that individual has to offer. So it could turn to another skill set or another piece of knowledge or experience that you want to be mentored on. But in a lot of cases, they can actually grow into more of a coaching relationship. And basically, I wanted to make sure I covered Diana, for instance, my boss. Oh my gosh, I was in my early 20s, and I got promoted down into the corporate office as a buyer, and was meeting my boss for the first time, and she was epitomized. She was the exact example of what I wanted to be as a corporate executive. She was just very polished, very formal, dressed beautifully, spoke eloquently, and yet was a fierce business person. Fierce. And I had a lot to learn when it came to being a buyer, being so young. And therefore, she, kind of recognized my ambition and my aspiration and my aggressiveness at the time. And so she took me under her wing to kind of, bring me along and really, educate me in what it takes to be a buyer, and more so what it takes to be a polished corporate executive, even at that young age. That was my goal, but that was her aspiration for me. So the goal of your mentor is going to be to get you experienced, get you more knowledge, get you skilled up, as I'll call it, in a certain area. And that could be leadership, that could be communication, that could be a more technical, process-oriented type of skill set. But that's what mentors are really for, is to do that for you. Okay. They basically, to sum it up, to make it really simple, they basically tell you about something and tell you how to do it. And they might even go along to say, to hold you accountable to, did you actually take, step 1, 2, 3, and 4? But they tell you, and they even might demonstrate it, of how to go about doing something. So that's really what mentors are all about. So what you can consider, a question you can consider when seeking out a mentor would be, first for yourself, what skill set or knowledge gap do I have? And then ask yourself, who do I know has that expertise? But there's going to be times, and we'll talk about it, but there's going to be times you're not going to have someone in your circle, and therefore you're going to have to go seek out somewhat of a stranger. If it might be a warm stranger versus a cold stranger, if you understand that. But it might be someone that you kind of know, but they really don't know you, and therefore you might have some help getting introduced to that person, or it could be a complete stranger that you have to kind of cold call on, stating that you want some support and help from them. Okay. All right. Let's get into coaching. All right. Coaches are very goal oriented. So one of the first things they're going to want to know from you, just as I would, is what are your goals? Now, that doesn't mean you need to have any, and that doesn't even mean you have to have them on a piece of paper if you do. It just means that they're going to seek out and want to ensure that if you don't have a goal, they work with you to define your goals. And if you have a goal, but it's not down on paper with very specific, like the SMART methodology of goal setting, and an action plan to go along with it, then they're going to, work with you to ensure that happens, because they're going to be very goal oriented for you. I mean, their job is to ensure that if you have a goal of X, Y, and Z, that you are focused on that you are prioritizing based on that, you're taking actions based on that, you're being held accountable based on that, and then you're achieving that. And then, of course, their other main role is to support you, motivate you, champion you, cheer you on, but also lift you up when the highs and the lows come a calling as you're pursuing your goals, because they will. So, I always look at it as, from a coaching perspective, I always look at it as I'm really dealing with the mindset of individuals so that their skill set, which you can translate into their goals, their tactical goals, can then be achieved. So coaches are to be really good listeners. So they're really kind of, I even call it their wordsmiths, because what I do at least is I'm listening to you as you're talking, but I'm wanting to pick out the words that have a lot more meaning to them than what it is that you're actually implying and meaning for those words to mean. So for instance, if all of a sudden you're explaining something to me and you start retreating in your confidence, or you're starting to excuse something, or you're using a word that's kind of taking you off the hook, or even demotivating yourself, or talking down to yourself. At the same time, if you're also using aggressive words, or words that are harsh, not only on yourself but on others, and you're using statements that are kind of creating havoc versus creating riches, creating collaboration, creating engagement, creating a desire for uh, conversation, then a coach's job is to kind of pull those out and make you aware of it. So a coach's job is to actively listen and then ask a lot of questions. So I wouldn't necessarily, call out someone and say, "Oh, you use that negative word," or "Oh, you're demotivating yourself." I would say, may I ask why you use that choice of words? What do you mean by X, Y, and Z? How do you think that type of statement or approach is working for you, or is going to benefit what it is that you're looking to do? So a coach is actively listening, and they're asking a lot of questions, because a coach's job, unlike a coach's job is not to tell you and even demonstrate or show you how. They're there to guide you, ask those questions so you draw your own conclusion, or to make your own decision, or lay out your own plan. And a coach is there to ensure that you're considering all of the elements or factors, or risks, or components of whatever it is that you're working on. A coach's job is to just listen, ask a lot of questions, and then, where needed, course correct, and kind of redirect if that's absolutely necessary during your on your path. Now, all of these 4 roles require someone that you trust, someone that you feel comfortable with, someone that you can open up to and safe with. But a coach is really critical, that you feel that you can trust them, that you feel safe with them, that you feel confident and comfortable with them, that you are willing to expose your vulnerability and expose your weaknesses as much as your strengths. It's a safe environment for you just to be you, good, bad, ugly, gorgeous, whatever, in order for you to get the solutions, to get the answers, for you to get there, but to get what it is that you need. Because again, a coach's goal is to get you to your goal. A coach's goal is to get you to your goal, whatever it takes, guiding you and navigating you along that journey. And therefore, you need someone that you can absolutely, have a relationship with, trust completely, and just completely, disrobe and be as raw and naked as needed in order for you to get where you want to go. Just that goal orientation is what you need to kind of walk away with. So their ultimate end state for you is not only to get you to your goal, but they're looking to improve your performance. inspire who you are, enrich the individual, the person that you are. They're there to really maximize your potential individually and or from a business perspective. They're there to, even if you hired someone that's focused on your career or focused on building your business, something in the workspace, they're also there. Their end goal is to ensure that all of what it is that you're pursuing and wanting to achieve also has significant impact to both you and your personal life. So it would be your family, your friends, your community. Their goal is to ensure that how you grow and develop as a individual is having impact and benefit and riches in all aspects of your life. And that's what they're laser focused on. And when they sense that you're not, either you're not totally committed to it, and or if it's just not, the relationship is not, working in that direction, then they're also there to ensure that it gets back on track, and or they understand what your real goals and motivations are, to ensure that even there's a nice fit between the two of you, especially if it's a long-term coaching relationship. And so what I mean by that is this. As we mentioned, mentors could be short-term, coaches could be short-term. But at the same time, they could also be long-term. As I mentioned, Joan was my coach for 9 years on a weekly basis. The average client that I have is 3 to 4 years. Not to say I don't have shorter ones, but the average number of years I'm with someone is 3, 4. I've had one for 10 plus. I've had one now for 6 or 7, but the average of all the others is roughly 3 or 4 years. Because it's not necessarily focused on one thing like a mentor would be. It's focused on their goals, of which could, encompass a good number of areas of their life, and or they change and grow and evolve over time. So you definitely want to be looking at someone that you have a great, trusting, engaging relationship with, because as I was leading to, over time it could change, and that relationship may not be who you need or what you need anymore. And that's perfectly okay, and understand that coaches are perfectly fine with that. If all of a sudden you say, what, I really think we're at a point where we've done everything that we can, and therefore I'm either going to seek someone else, or I just feel I don't need coaching any longer, whatever the case might be. So find the person for that initial goal that you have, and then just see where it goes from there. Because again, it could last weeks, months, or years. So you really want to be considering. So questions to ask yourself is, what is the goal that I want to be achieving? What do I need in order to achieve it? And what I mean by that is, what do you personally need? Do you need some accountability? Do you need kind of direction, ideas, and strategies? Do you need someone to brainstorm with or to soundboard with? Do you need people someone to help you kind of communicate and or delegate more effectively? Now that doesn't mean you have to go to a very niched type of coach in order to do that. Some coaches cover all the gamuts, but there are some areas that of your goals that you say, I need this specific type of coach. Some are broad. Life coaches, career coaches, leadership coaches can have a broad brushstroke, but then there are some that are very specific. I want a writing coach. I want a public speaking coach. I want someone specifically focused on communications. One that is on mindset, which is beyond life coaching. So there's a number of things, a number of types of coaches that you might need when you've defined your goal and what it is that you need, what gaps you might have in being able to achieve that goal. And that's the type of person that you want to be seeking and the questions you need to be asking. Okay. Now, I do want to mention, I'm going to mention it very briefly, is people will often, coaches will often be hybrids. And what I mean by that is they might get into the how-to and actually doing it for you. So, myself and many coaches that I know are coaches / consultants. But consultants are a whole different animal, and one that we don't need to necessarily talk about here, because we want to kind of ensure that you're married up with the type of role that is going to advance yourself, as well as maybe your career or your business. And consultants are more that you have a job for them to do and they do it. So they're not necessarily in this realm of these roles for you. Okay. All right. Sponsors. Now, this is probably the biggest gap for career professionals, is sponsors and advocates. Sponsors, very simply, are people of influence, power, and position who are advocating. So we're going to get to that, but who are advocating and pushing and talking about you and working to advance you behind closed doors. Look at it that way. So you don't know that they're actually doing it. They might have told you, but in a lot of cases, they really are someone who is well aware of who you are, what you do, and how you do it. And they make the decision on their own to go and sponsor you behind closed doors to whoever it is that's necessary for you to either be advanced, maybe find a new job, get into a different company, whatever the case might be. So it's really plain and simple where the sponsor comes into play. And yet we'll mention how you need to go about getting any of these kind of in your corner and how to go about doing that. But they're focused on advancing you, building your network, making you known, and getting you advanced. That is what their sole focus is. And so questions that that you need to think about in regards to that is who do I know within my circle or beyond my circle that would be someone who is aware of me, knows, the job that I do or the business that I have, and my, kind of my work ethic and my passion and my determination for growth and enrichment and advancement. And they're willing to sponsor me to the men and women, in the C-suite. You want to kind of be thinking about that and asking those type of questions. Again, their goal is to get you advanced or to help you build your business. I have a sponsor. I had a sponsor in my corporate career, but I even have a sponsor that I'll credit in my own business, who she's recognized the type of coach that I am and the type of work that I do. And therefore, when there are opportunities within her organization of someone who needs some support, some coaching, then she'll reach out to me. And I absolutely feel honored that she does. And appreciate it's, yes, very, very much appreciated. Okay, so those are your sponsors, all right? And they're very few, and you're not going to have more than one most likely. But just know that they are one of influence, power, and position, and they have the ability to get you advanced, and you might never even know about it. Okay, because they're not seeking credit. Advocates publicly advocate for you, so that's real simple. They're publicly advocating for you. They're giving you kudos in front of clients or other leaders. Your colleagues, your peers, your employees, they're making it well known that they have your back, and they're looking to get you advanced or helping you build your business. They're giving you referrals as a business owner, or even references as a career professional. But advocates aren't behind closed doors doing it. They're openly advocating for you. To advance you or to help you build your business, or even in life, advocating for you to, grow in your community. Okay. And their real goal is to kind of enrich your brand, enrich who you are and how you're perceived, and get you that exposure and those opportunities that you want. So that's what their main goal is. Okay. So again, you don't need to understand all of these, based on our conversation today. You can always be reaching out to me. You can even you can even schedule a breakthrough session with me, a complimentary breakthrough coaching session, and we could discuss this or anything else that you want to discuss when it comes to advancing yourself in your career, in your business, or in your life. All right, and don't hesitate doing that. And you can see the link to my schedule right there, as far as getting on my calendar for a breakthrough session. And by the time we get off that call, it's all about you. There's no other agenda other than answering your questions and getting you the tips, advice, and strategies you need to move yourself forward. All right. So definitely leverage that as much as you can. Now, people will ask me, well, what's in it for all these people? Like, why would these, especially if they are leaders in your company, leaders in the industry, leaders around your business, why would they, want to be a mentor or a coach or an advocate or a sponsor? Well, quite honestly, there's a number of reasons. One, they want to give back. They want to serve other people. They want to leave a legacy of their own. They want to see other people succeed. Especially the more successful you are, the more you want to help others do the same. You have your success. That's what they're saying. I have my success. Now I want to see other people advance and grow and succeed in life as well. So they want to serve. They want to give back. They want to build their own brand. I mean, there could be some, I don't want to call it selfish reasons, but they know that there's benefits to it as well. If you looked at somebody in your own company or in your own business and you say, oh yeah, I admire that guy, or so many people admire that guy or gal because they really look out for, the underdog, or they look out for that high potential that's raising in the ranks, or they take people under their wing and they really do advocate and sponsor individuals. That's also a benefit to the individual as well. But most of them will tell you that the reason why they do it, the reason why they clear their calendar, the reason why they give you time is to give back, is to share their experiences, their best practices, their lessons learned, their successes, their failures, all of it, in order to help and serve someone else. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And quite honestly, my experience with Joan through 9 years, even though I was a coach myself at the same time, her way of engaging and coaching me and just everything she gave to me is why I also want to coach and help other people. It's what inspires me to be the coach that I believe that I am. But, and it just makes me want to be better all the time because of her and just what she gave me all those years. And I could cry right now, so we'll move on. All right. So how do you identify them? Well, you first really need to, and this is going to go to your checklist, but you're first going to really need to understand what is it that you need, from where you are in your career, where you are in your business, where you are in life. What is it that you need? We all need help. We all need support. We all need somebody in our corner. We all need someone looking out for us. So what is it? What is it that you need? And get a little tactical as well, or technical. What are those skill sets? What are those pieces of knowledge? What are those lessons? What are those best practices? What are those very functional areas that you have a gap in? So, but you really have to get yourself very clear first as to what it is that you need in order to then say, okay, so based on what we talked about today, and you might talk about with me on one of the breakthrough sessions, then you can really say, okay, I think I need a mentor, or I might need a coach. I'm not really ready for a sponsor, but that's going to be my goal, is to go and find a sponsor. But there's work I need to do through a coach or through a mentor in order to get to a sponsor. But maybe I want to be able to go after an advocate and find someone who's willing to, publicly, support me and advocate for me. But you need to be really clear on that. Because in order for them to understand what you need and support you, you need to feel clear and confident about it as well. Okay. Now keep in mind, you may know them, you may not. So after you get really clear, you're going to think about, okay, so who do I know and who do I admire? Who do I respect? Who do I trust that could fit this role or multiple roles that I aspire to engage? Now, you might not know them. You may not know them. They could even be celebrity status, influential, a person of position or power. And don't be scared off by that. Don't be scared off by that. Many people have knocked on very powerful people's doors very assertively and consistently with a purpose, with a passion, with a well-defined reason, and they've been able to open that door and get that mentorship, get that coaching, get that sponsorship, get that advocacy. But you really need to be clear. So then you can go and do an approach, either that person person that you may have a lukewarm relationship with, or that complete stranger. Okay. So you want your plan. You want a list of people that you know or don't know. And then you want to kind of identify strategies, come up with ideas and strategies for getting to that person. Now, the first thing I will tell you not to do, and it's actually the first and the last, I'll tell you not to do, is just don't ask them right away, especially if you don't have a relationship with them. If you have a relationship with them, you still don't want to ask them right away. You might want to go to them, sit them down and say, hey, look, I was thinking about engaging a mentor or coach or whomever, and this is the reason why, and this is my plan, this is my expectation, this is kind of my objective, my goal of why I would want to engage this type of person. And I was kind of considering you in that role. Is that something that you would consider? You can certainly do that, but at the same time, you want to kind of do it in a warm way. But if you don't know the person, you certainly don't want to go and just say, hey, I want you to be my mentor or coach or whomever. You want to, approach them, build a relationship with them, have a conversation with them, ask them specific questions and, kind of feel them out, so to speak. And then when you're ready and when they're ready, you can then say, okay, this is my very detailed, structured plan. This is what I expect that I'm going to do and show up and, contribute. This is what I'm looking for this individual to, give back to me based on, time and availability and commitment and accountability and trust, all of those things. And you need to be in the driver's seat on this. You need to be in the driver's seat, meaning you need to come up with the plan. You need to come up with the timeline. You need to come up with the schedule. You need to come up with the desired outcome of what it is you're trying to accomplish. You need to come up with what's in it for the individual for doing this. Don't assume because I told you they just want to serve that you're going to go to somebody and they're going to be like, yes, sure, take a seat. No, because not everyone either has been a mentor, coach, or advocate or sponsor, or they may have already a number of people in their roster and they can't take on anyone else. So you also can't take this personally. You can't take it personally because you won't know, and they may not tell you, or they may, why they may have to say no. But if it's someone of value, of purpose, most likely they'll want to if they can, but they're not necessarily going to tell you why they can't. They're not going to tell you necessarily that they have too many other obligations. They have too many other people that they're already working with, that their family situation doesn't, allow for it right now, so forth and so on. So don't take it personally. That's what the list is for. You just then say, thank you very much. Maybe I'll come back to you at another time. And then you go and seek out somebody else to provide it for you. Okay. So you really want to ensure that you have all of the pieces in place. And then you start building a relationship, and then you could say, okay, well, I'm going to purposely focus on this for the next 3, 6 months, maybe a year, and work with identify this person, build a relationship with this person, drop indications, have conversations with them about what it is I'm working toward, and then you'll know the right time, and at the same time they may come to you. So a lot of cases, even a mentor actually identifies the mentoree or the protege. Not often the coach finds that person, but they could. And again, mentors can turn into coaches. And then sponsors and advocates could be the same. They all of a sudden someone sees you within the business, and again, the sponsor won't tell you necessarily. The advocate will, and the advocate may approach you saying, hey, I want to help you. But assume that you're going to be approaching them and put the plan together to approach them appropriately. Okay. And again, you want all the elements of that plan, so you can have a meaningful conversation. You don't want to sit down and say, hey, I was thinking of having you as my coach or my mentor. Why? Well, because, what are you expecting of me? What do you need from me? When do you want to start? How much time is this going to take? Well, I haven't worked. You don't want to be that. You want to have all of that figured out. So when you sit down and you actually, broach this subject with someone, you can, have a very professional, very thoughtful, very purposeful, and very intentional conversation, of which then, especially when you include what's in it for them as much as what's in it for you, then you have a much better chance of being able to secure that relationship. Okay. Let's see. Now, I'm often asked, okay, so how can I, engage my boss in this? How can I, go to my company and say, hey, do we have a mentorship program? And if not, can we have one? Do we have a coaching program? If not, can we have one? Or can I become part of it? You can certainly do that, and you should. You should find out what leadership development opportunities you have within your company. But if you own a company and you run a company, you should consider having these things for your employees, because for the company, it creates retention. It minimizes attrition. It increases morale. It increases engagement and collaboration and teaming. It enriches the pool of talent. It enriches diversity and engage diversity and. I just saw someone check in. So there's a lot of benefits even to the company. Okay, so you could go and kind of do some research of your own within the company to learn whether or not they provide mentors, coaches. You won't hear of a sponsorship or advocacy program. That'll be kept kind of quiet, but you certainly will of mentorships and coaching. And if they don't, then you can also advocate. You can advocate and suggest. And tell them why. What are the benefits? What is the value? And there's so many to a company. There is so many to a company. Talent is very competitive out there, not only right now, but typically. And therefore, they want to do what's necessary to not only keep the talent that they have, but enrich it and diverse it and grow it. So you have a great basis for a business case to take to them. Okay, let's see. So your first 3 steps I want to give you before we close out. The first 3 steps I would suggest just taking is getting that understanding down, understanding of what it is that your gaps are and what it is that you need. Get that down first and foremost, because whether you go get a mentor, coach, sponsor, an advocate, it's self-awareness of where your gaps are. And gaps are okay. Gaps just mean you're growing. Okay? So get that understanding down first. And then from there, define a plan. So look at and/or come to me and schedule one of those breakthrough sessions, and let's discuss, is it a mentor? Is it a coach? Is it a sponsor or an advocate that I'm looking for? And therefore, what's my plan for them? Literally what the plan is, what the goal is, what the objective is, what the role and the expectations of both parties, what's the timeline, what's the availability, frequency, who's going to lead and facilitate it, which is you, by the way. So a whole plan around what this role and what this relationship looks like. So get your idea of your gap, define the plan, and then simply identify a list. Make a list of who it is that you could be approaching over time to build that relationship to get to the end point. And again, you may know these people or you may not know these people. And there's different strategies and tactics and techniques to approach both, whether they're somebody which I'll call warm, or someone you don't know, which is cold, and you want to approach them. And again, they could be peers, but you're always wanting to up level. So let's take that out. They're leader, senior to you, and or they might be very influential, powerful, and celebrity that you all of a sudden have on your list. And those are the individuals that you might be like, oh my gosh, I can't go after that person. Sure you can. Just do a Google search of how someone met someone, or got mentored by someone, or was coached by someone that is a celebrity, is influential, is powerful. And you'd be surprised and learning how they went about meeting and then being engaged and having a relationship with someone that you think, I'm not worthy enough, I'm an unknown, I'm just a small little peon, so forth and so on. You want to get all of that out of your head. And if you need something and you identify the perfect individual that can give it to you, then that should be your goal. All right, to pursue it. So your 3 steps: understanding your need, define a plan to go and pursue that need, filling that need, and then making a list of who it could be that you could be actually knocking on a door and building a relationship with. Now, again, I don't expect you to walk away from here and have everything that you need in order to do what you need and want to do. So feel free, please, to schedule a complimentary breakthrough session with me. The link is right there, tiny.cc/Rich's Breakthrough Call. And let's talk about it. Let me give you tips and strategies and advice and help you lay out that first, second, and third step. And we can get it done in 30 minutes. All right? All right. Now, again, every Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, we will be here in our Shift to Riches community providing you top of mind training topics that you're giving me. And if you have any, then comment or DM me or email me at BernadetteBose@ballofireinc.com. And then know this is what I do every day, is serving you as a performance and success coach. And if you want more information, you can go to ballofireconsulting.com. All right. Everyone have a beautiful, rich day and enjoy the rest of it. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.